Welcome to another edition of Talk Your Exposure. And on today's episode, we have our very first sprinter on the show. We'd like to welcome in Aaron Brown, who is a Canadian sprinter who specializes in the 100 and 200 meters. He is a two-time Olympic medalist as part of Canada's 4x100 meter relay team at the 2016 and 2020 Summer Olympics. Brown has also won 2 bronze medals as part of Canada's relay team in the 4x100 meters at the 2013 and 2015 World Championships in athletics. As an individual, he is a 2018 Commonwealth Games silver medalist in the 200 meters and won a number of junior championship medals early in his career. You can catch this episode of Talk Your Exposure with Aaron Brown on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts under Talk Your Exposure. Enjoy the episode. Well, welcome to another edition of Talk Your Exposure, and today's guest is somebody that is very special because I've actually known this person for goddamn about to age myself at least 2 decades, I want to say, maybe even less, but I'm definitely aging myself with this by saying that right now. However, before we get to introduce our guest for today, I want to remind everybody that Devontae is not with us today again due to some work stuff that he always has to get to. We know you don't really want to be at work, Devontae. We know you'd rather be here, but it's okay, man. We got the show for you today. But today's guest is our first ever Olympic track star, somebody that I've grown up with, like I mentioned before, playing against OBA basketball with, and man, did we have some battles and some rivalries with those guys. We want to introduce Aaron Brown to the show. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, appreciate you for coming on, man. It's definitely been a trial to get you on the show, but we're happy to have you and excited to get this show started. I want to start off with Go ahead.
No, I was just saying schedules get busy, man. When you're a dad, you kind of go around your baby schedule. So, but I finally got on, so we're good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're excited. We're excited. I want to start up the show today with a game called Who Would Win? Rap Battle Edition. So I want to ask, I'm going to go through some different rappers and put them through some, winners and losers. I want to get your intake on who you think would win. We're going to start up with kind of an easy but hard one at the same time. We got Kanye and J. Cole. Who you got?
Oh, I got J. Cole.
Woo! Why you got J. Cole? Let's get a little hot take.
First of all, J. Cole is one of my favorite rappers. I mean, Kanye is dope too, but I just feel like J. Cole's got more substance with his bars. So if we're going to battle rap, I think J. Cole would handle that. Kanye is more of a producer, in my opinion. I mean, he's got hits. He's got great albums, but he's like his genius is his producing. And J. Cole is more of his spitting. So battle rap, I'm going J. Cole all day.
You thought about that one, man. It's almost like you knew I was going to ask you that. Hey, next up we got Ja Rule and Tupac.
I'm gonna go Tupac for obvious reasons. He's got great diss records and all that. But I'm not sleeping on Ja Rule. He's slept on. He's underrated because 50 Cent bodied him, but Ja Rule's up there. But yeah, I'm gonna go Tupac.
Speaking of 50 Cent, we got 50 versus Jadakiss.
Ooh, Jadakiss.
Why is that?
I just feel like he's more of like a street battler. So 50 Cent will come in with like, the trolling bars and all that stuff. But I just feel like Jadakiss has more like lyrical talent and he'll just hold his own more than 50 Cent could. Like 50 Cent will come with a joke here and there, but then run out of material. And then Jadakiss will just straight bar you up. So I'm gonna go Jadakiss.
You're right. Last one I got for you over here is this one might actually be a landslide, but I got Eminem versus JayZ.
Whew. Wait, landslide for who? That's tough.
That's your opinion. This is your opinion right now.
No, that's tough. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Eminem.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about as well. Because for me, I mean, I obviously I feel like Eminem is a lyrical genius, to be honest with you. So when it comes to battle rapping and just understanding how to spit bars and put things together, I think he's better for that type of style than JayZ would be. But obviously, both those guys are definitely both phenomenal with what they do. And JayZ being a billionaire and Eminem being a millionaire, and both of them being great producers, and they are very good businessmen. So, but in terms of battle rap, I have to go with what you said earlier about J. Cole, about how he's just able to spit better. And I think Eminem would definitely
Yeah,
beat JayZ in that way.
he's more battle tested.
8 Mile.
So yeah, he put some people in body bags, and you can argue Nas beat JayZ. So even though JayZ's one of the goats, I gotta go Eminem.
Yeah, I forgot about
Eight
Nas.
Mile alone.
I'm about to say, I forgot about Nas, to be honest with you. Shoot, I should have put Nas in there. But shame on me, man. Next time. Speaking of music, though, I got to ask you, growing up, what kind of music were you into?
Oh man, growing up, of course, you love hip hop. Being in Toronto, you can see like the culture now in music has been heavily influenced by Toronto culture, which is dope to see. But growing up, it wasn't as big as it is now. But you still heard, the sounds, and you could see the influence of it in the city. I loved some of the people you just said. Like growing up, I like Kanye, I like Drake, I like Lil Wayne was a big one. He was probably my favorite rapper, maybe my favorite rapper ever. It's Lil Wayne.
Forgot about him too.
50 Cent was big when I was young. So, growing up, hip hop culture ruled everything, man. Like it was just like, if you wanted to be cool, you want to be part of the culture, you had to be, down on hip hop. Dipset was big. So I like Jewels and Cameron and those guys. G Unit was big back then. Man, I'm trying to put myself in that mindset, like it's a while ago. But hip hop, R&B was big back then too. So like Ja Rule, of course, had bangers back then. I can't even think of all the people back then, but it's a little taste of what I used to listen to growing up.
It's crazy that you mentioned all those guys, because you mentioned Lil Wayne, you mentioned Nas earlier. I didn't even think about putting Lil Wayne in that category of rap battle, but he's definitely another guy. He's an honorable mention for sure. And Lil Wayne, when it comes to battle raps, what? Another lyrical genius right there that I didn't even mention. So shame on me again, man. But next time, I appreciate the reminder. Speaking of music, though, did you have a particular song that you listened to before either every basketball game, every race, anything like that? Was there a particular song that got you amped and excited before everything?
I wouldn't say like one song, but like I can name a couple. I'm just name Lil Wayne songs because that's the easiest thing. Go DJ was one of my favorite songs. That's like one of the earliest songs that made me like really put me on Lil Wayne is Go DJ. Me by Lil Wayne. That's a big one too. What else? Kanye's Can't Tell Me Nothing was a big one in high school. That was when I was playing football and stuff. Like I just felt like I was like, in my zone when I heard that. So Forever with Drake, Kanye, Eminem. I don't know if anybody else was on that song, but that was a huge one. Yeah, songs like that.
You mentioned Drake and Kanye a couple of times, so I gotta ask you, Donda or Certified Lover Boy?
Certified Lover Boy.
Are you being biased?
I'm not gonna go against Drake almost ever. So
okay, fair enough.
That's the sixth god. I got to represent for my city. But honestly, I like Kanye a lot too. So I can be objective and say which one was better. I think production wise, Donda was better, but there's more tracks that I would actually play. I think Donda has higher highs. Like its best songs are better than the best songs on CLB, but overall, I like more songs on CLB than on Donda.
Have you ever had an opportunity to meet Drake? Being the sixth guy, you being an Olympic winner, have you ever had a chance to meet him?
I haven't met him, but I did. So I unveiled the Olympic uniform for Team Canada in 2020 for the Olympics, like the uniform that we're going to wear for Nike. And he was there in the audience. So like I'm walking around like doing the little catwalk thing, and I see him in the crowd. So I haven't met him, but I looked at him and I threw up a 6, and he looked at me and was like, "Get one of these." So I was like, got a little connection there.
Got a little love, man. Got a little love. Got to give him 6 guys some love. But I got to ask you though, was there any inspiration for you to be as great as you become in terms of basketball, football, running, track? Anything that you've done, who has been your inspiration for your entire life?
My favorite athlete of all time is LeBron. So just watching his journey and how he like dealt with scrutiny and had his lows, like the Dallas series in 2011, but then came back and won his rings and MVPs and whatnot. Like watching his journey has always motivated me, just because he's been an inspiration. But overall, I would say like just the people around me, like pushing me to be better. And I never grew up thinking like I'm gonna be an Olympian or I'm gonna be a professional runner. These things didn't even cross my mind. Like I just was hooping, with my boys, just kicking it. You know what I'm saying? Like I never thought about the future, about going to college or anything like that. I was just taking it day by day. But as I like got better and show my potential, people would always put me in the right places, and they'd always just be like, you can be better than this. You can, if you join this club, you can make this team, or you can, get a scholarship to this place, or you can get a contract from this company, or you can make the Olympic team, whatever. And they just kind of like put the goal out there for me, and I just went and chased it. I'm like, okay, like I wasn't like the horse and they put the carrot in front of me and I just chased it.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. I just listened to people who put good advice in front of me, and it's led me to where I am today. So I didn't have like this master plan when I was young, like this is what I want to be. I kind of just let life happen and shape, where I ended up.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I remember in grade 9, man, you used to always be ahead of steam every single time you were dribbling the basketball. And I used to always ask to talk to Pollock, Bogash, all those guys that I went to school with. I'm like, bro, why is this guy not running track? Like, does he run track? And they're like, yo, he's a runner. I'm like, oh shit, like, bro, you would get from one side of the court down to the other side. And I think there was times, and I'm not even trying to diss or nothing, but there's times that I don't even think you realize how fast you got to the rim, which is why you miss a couple layups here and there. But I'm like, bro, you got to the like right to the lane, like super fast. Your first move to the rim, like all like every single time, it was unstoppable. So honestly, it makes sense that you're a track star and you're Olympian and you get to where you got to, even though you might have not thought you were going to get there. But shoot, a lot of people that was watching you from grade 9, grade 10 definitely believed you could make it, man. But speaking of being an Olympian, you're probably training about 5-6 times a week, maybe 2 a day sometimes, with a ton of recovery and treatment in between. What do you do to stay injury free?
Man, I got to stay up on my physical therapy. Like I get massages, depending on what type of season, like what time of the year it is. I go anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week. I got to see the chiropractor, got to get my massages, got to make sure I eat right. That's a huge one, is that, eating the right things so your body's got nutrients that it needs. You're breaking things down, you're in good shape. You're drinking water. You always got to hydrate, especially living in Florida. It's hot as hell out here. So you got to make sure you're really hydrated, running around the track all day long. When you're lifting weights, you got to make sure you're lifting incrementally and not just jumping up to like huge weights. That's how you get injured. Proper technique is huge. So when you're starting out with like lower weights, trying to build up the muscle, make sure your technique's on point and keep that same technique higher and higher and higher. If you can't hold that technique, don't go up in weight. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go up until you have the proper technique, because if you go up without having the right technique, that's how you get hurt. And I've seen it happen so many times. You got to warm up properly. You know what I'm saying? So like when you're, whether it's practice or a race or whatever your sport is, whatever competition, make sure that you're firing the muscles, making sure you're warm and ready to go. Because sometimes if you're doing an explosive movement cold, that's, a recipe for getting hurt. Just staying up on body maintenance, man. Like a lot of people invest a lot into the best gear, or, traveling around, or, whatever it is, spending stuff on like frivolous stuff like cars or jewelry, whatever it is. But your main investment when you're an athlete is investing in yourself. So you got to make sure you're spending enough money on yourself and treat yourself like a NASCAR. When cars go through that pit stop and whatever, they're oiling up, they're changing the tires, whatever, doing whatever to keep on top of that maintenance so that the car can function. And when you're a runner, you got to treat yourself just like that. You got to make sure everything's well oiled. You're getting the best food. That's your oil. You got to change the tires. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to do everything to make sure that your body's on point, because that's your money maker.
No, 100%. I agree with you on that one, because even with me as an athlete, not athlete, but basketball player, when I played Division II, I stopped playing basketball at 25, 26. And to be honest with you, even now that we're getting 30 years old, bro, my body's tearing down on me. And I don't even like, what am I? I still feel like I'm 18, 19 years old. To be able to, what you say with the example I like to give to kids in particular is always think of yourself as a well-oiled machine in the sense of, a car, right? If you don't put gas in the car, if you don't put oil in the car, how are you going to be able to keep running that car, the car, driving the car, getting to where you got to get to? If you don't,
Yeah.
and I like what you said when you said, you're talking about investing into yourself. People and kids in particular don't really understand what that sentence means and how to get to that level. So for that coming from an Olympian like yourself, man, I'm a nobody, but coming from someone who's already been there doing that, it's great to hear, because now it's like, yeah, these kids need to hear that stuff as well. So shout out to you for being able to give that insight to these kids. Yeah. But I want to ask you one question off script for 1 second, but I got to ask you, Florida. What is Florida like in December time? Because obviously you being Canadian, we always know Toronto is cold. So in Florida, when December time comes around, I went to Polk State College. I was lucky enough to be able to, be in the warm weather. But what's that experience been like for you? Because you go from California and you get to Florida as well. So talk to us about being in Florida in December.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of snowbirds live here. A lot of Canadians, you meet them around in Florida in particular because they want to get away from that cold. And I grew up in it for 18 years, but I've been gone for, 11 now. So I'm kind of soft now. But that cold is deadly. So growing up in this, like in Florida, it's not going to be as hot as it is in the summertime. Like there are some cooler days where you got to put on a jacket. Sometimes even colder than that, but it's not going to snow. It's going to be warm during the day. It's usually cold like at nighttime or early in the morning, but during the day it's going to be pretty nice. So you're going to have your mid-20s pretty consistently, unless like some weird global warming stuff happens and it's freaky cold or whatever, but it's usually pretty warm. So
hey, shout out my Floridians, man. Shout out my Floridians. I want to get to a different sport for you real quick, as I keep mentioning. We used to play against each other regularly with BJC versus North Toronto. I got to ask you, though, what was it about basketball that you enjoyed the most?
Man, I think it's just the fact that you can pick it up and play it anywhere. Like everybody loves to play basketball. I've never really met anybody that like sports that doesn't like basketball. Mm-hmm. So like all you need is a hoop and a ball, and then you can, pick up a run anywhere. You walk into your local YMCA and then there's people hooping, and then you say, hey, I got next. And then all of a sudden you're playing with a bunch of strangers and you guys are all on the same page, chopping it up. It brings everybody together. Like that culture of basketball is just something that I've always loved. I grew up playing basketball, watching basketball, the NBA. Me and my dad bonded over it. So it's just hooping is just ingrained in like me as a person. Like even in the off season, I still get some shots up. I have a basketball net in my garage that I bring out every now and then when it's not too hot out and I'm not like dead from practice. I'll get some shots up. It's nothing like watching the ball go through the hoop or, getting a dunk or whatever it is. It's just playing ball is it's just life. You know what I'm saying?
I feel no pun intended there, but I definitely feel you on that. If you were to go way back to high school, right? Would you consider playing basketball, or was it always track?
No, I mean, I would love to play basketball, but the truth is, like, I'm only 6'1", and I say only because comparing to the NBA, 6'1" is like the bare minimum. It seems like to be a point guard. If you're short than that, you got to be like next level talent. And so I just felt like my prospects were better if I pursued track versus basketball. And one of the hardest things was to give up playing basketball and playing with North Toronto because I felt like it was affecting my running. Like there was one time where we had metros, which is cities, the fastest people in Toronto. And I had just come off playing a tournament with North Toronto for the entire weekend. And then I had to run, the 100, the 200, and the 4x1 at a track meet in the 4x4. So my legs are already shot. And I lost a race where I'm like, I should have won this easily. But because I was so tired, I just didn't have the legs. So I had to decide in my senior year of high school, I'm already getting scholarship looks and people from down south in track. I got to drop one sport because I was playing football as well. But football and track complement each other more than basketball is because it's just, being fast in track helps you in football. Whereas, as you said earlier, if you're super fast in basketball, that's good. But if you don't have the same basketball skills and I'm missing layups because I'm outrunning the ball, it doesn't really help you too much. It made me more explosive. It helped me to jump higher and stuff. But you got to put in the work. You got to have the fundamentals. You got to work on your jump shot, all that stuff, your handle. And I just didn't have the time to invest all of that into basketball to be even on the radar to get a scholarship for basketball if I was doing track and football as well. So I had to decide, like, okay, you're going into an environment where in the NCAA, everybody's like uber talented, and you're just this, kid coming from Canada. Like the States breeds athletes in basketball. Some people are 6'9" in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are dunking in grade school in the States. It's crazy. And so like any top prospect from Canada usually goes down to a prep school in the US if they're like really good, like the Andrew Wiggins and stuff. So knowing that, I didn't think I could go that high, and I had scholarship offers right there for track, and I was getting looks in football. I'm like, all right, I got to just give it up.
Fair enough. But speaking of letter of intent, obviously it all worked out for you because in 2010 you signed a letter of intent to USC, which I don't even really know what the USC stands for, and shame on me again. But you signed to
Southern
USC.
Cal.
There you go, University of Southern Cal, and that was a great decision for you, and that was a great decision for you to be over there. Knowing all the great athletes that have been there prior, whether it's been track, whether it's been basketball, whether it's been other sports in general, what did this moment mean to you, knowing that you're about to be a Trojan?
Man, that was one of the best moments for me. Just being able to achieve my dream. I remember watching USC play Ohio State on TV in football, and I didn't know anything about USC at that point. I thought USC stood for Southern Carolina because I know UNC was North Carolina, but I later found out that they're in Los Angeles. I'm like, oh damn! Like I didn't even know like USC was this big school in LA, whatever. So I started doing my research and watching them. And then I just fell in love with the school, man. Like their whole legacy, their whole traditions and all that stuff. Just being in LA, which was a big city, just like Toronto was. So I felt like I'd be at home. Warm weather, being on the West Coast. So I got as far away from the East Coast as possible. I just wanted to, I'm young. I want to get away from my parents, even though I love them. I just wanted to like branch out and be my own person. So that was appealing to me. And being able to sign that letter of intent, like, it's just like, man, I really did it, because seeing where I was when I began high school and had no ambition, no like foresight for where I wanted to go to school or what I wanted to do with my life, to seeing where I ended up and by the time I graduated and bringing my grades up so I was eligible, taking the SATs, getting a high enough score for that, all that just like was just a proud moment when I was able to sign it and make it official.
For sure. Obviously, your freshman year, you did pretty well. You made the NCAA semifinals with your time is 10:38. You also won a silver medal with the 4x100 meter relay team. Talk to us about your first NCAA medal.
So my first year was a wash in my eyes. Like I pretty much wish I just had like a redshirt year, because I ended up getting hurt my first year, and it was just battling injuries and trying to adapt from, the training in high school to what I was doing to what I did in the NCAA. I was not prepared for that because it's completely different. I never lifted weights. So we're on an entirely different weight program when we get there. The training's different. It's harder. It's more intense. I'm not the fastest guy. I'm used to always just beating everybody and, impressing the coaches and whatever. But there's guys that are more talented than me. They're older, they're stronger, faster, bigger, all that. And then I got to juggle being in university, having a full course load with that, and then being on my own. So I got to, feed myself. I got to set my alarms and wake myself up and take myself to where I got to go, figure out like just navigating the adjustment going to college was a lot for me my first year. And so athletically, I didn't do as well as I would wanted to, but it was the most fun I had at college because, I'm partying, I'm going out 3 times a week, no discipline, nothing like that. But in order for me to be better, I had to cut all that stuff back. So, yeah.
I definitely hear that. What was the transition like for you from your freshman year all the way to your senior year?
Yeah, it was massive, bro. It's like you have a triangle where it's like you can have academics, you could have your social life, and you can have your sport. You can only pick two, right? One of those got to go. And at first, it was my athletics that was suffering. My freshman year, I didn't really do as well as I wanted to, and then my grades started slipping a little bit, so I had to pick that up. So I each year as I got older, I scaled back on my social life to where like I was just school and sport pretty much my grade 12 year. I went out on the occasion, but I try to leave until after a track meet, after I've done well, then I could celebrate and go party. Whereas I was doing the complete opposite in my freshman year. I would practice, I would like go out to a party, practice the next day, and go out the same night. It was wild. I don't even know how I functioned like that, but I had to get my priorities straight. And as I started to get looks and interest and from professional sponsors, and I started to make some waves. I broke the Canadian record when I was a senior. I was runner up at the NCAAs. Like I did better as I started to focus more and nurture how I was as an athlete and as a student and balance that better.
Give us your usually we say most embarrassing moment, but what we're gonna ask you is what's one thing that your coach either exposed you from during a practice, or what's one thing that you felt like, fuck man, I should have done a lot better for this one. What's one practice or something that your coach reminds you of that you just should have been like, damn, I wish it never happened?
I'll give you two.
Okay.
All right. So there's one where I'm at practice and my roommate, he's another guy. His name's Josh Mance. He's crazy talented, like naturally one of the best athletes always in whatever he steps up to. So we're at practice one day and he's a quarter miler. So he runs the 400. I run the 100 and 200. So he's got way more stamina than me. And I didn't realize this until we step on the track. But coach puts us to run a 300 together. And I'm used to running 300s in high school, like slow, like it's like tempo. Like I don't run the 300. So I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to run it nice and easy. This dude like takes off. Like I'm not even kidding. He beat me by 100 meters in a 300-meter thing. So yeah, like he took off. Like I'm dying on my head's going to the sky. And he's just, and it's crazy. Like he blew me out of the water, and I've never had someone be that far ahead of me. So that's something that I look back like, damn, that was embarrassing. The second one was, it's a day where, I think I'm coming back from a party, and it's right before practice. We practiced in the middle of the day. It was like 2:00 or something like that, and I just got out of class, and I had to go from class to practice, but I hadn't eaten anything. I forgot to eat. So I stop by the gas station, I get a hot dog, and I go to practice. Cool. I'm thinking nothing of it. In the middle of practice, I'm about to do a block start. I come out the blocks, and I just feel my stomach bubbling. Like I'm like, this thing is coming out now. Like it's not gonna wait. So as soon as I do the start, I come out for a couple steps, and I immediately turn and go right down the steps to the bathroom. Like I didn't finish the rep. I just turned immediately, and I had to do so bad. But yeah, that was embarrassing as well. Coach was like, what the hell was that? Where'd you go? I'm like, I had to go. I was gonna shit my pants.
Those are some great stories, man. Those are some great stories for real. Yeah. All of those turn into, you be able to make the Team Canada team and be able to participate in the Summer Olympics in 2012 in London. Talk to us about what that moment meant for you to be able to not only represent Canada, but to be represented in the Olympics.
Yeah, it was huge, man, because it's always, ever since I started doing track, like if you run track, your main goal is to make the Olympics. Like that's the biggest stage for us. So to have that come true at 20 years old, that was unreal. And on top of that, I got to race Usain Bolt, who's the GOAT. So I'm used to racing guys in my neck of the woods in Toronto, and then I go to the NCAA, get exposed to all those freak of nature athletes, and then I get to see the freak of freaks, up close and personal, raise Usain Bolt. And I remember I watched him run the 100 and win that, and he was just cool as he comes, like peak Usain Bolt, like just beating everybody. And then I'm like, damn, I really got to race people like that tomorrow. And I was nervous. And the first round went, I tied my PR, so I had a good first round, got the jitters out. I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. And then I look at the start list for the next round in the semis. I'm like, oh hell, I got Usain Bolt. So I got nervous all over again. But then I was more so excited because at that point I was just running with house money. Like no one's expecting me to do anything here. I'm just this young kid in my first team, whatever. So I just went out and had fun, and I ran a personal best. I got to dap him up after the race and got a good photo with us. So it was a great experience, man. Like London 2012 was probably my favorite Olympics.
Running against Usain, I think that was the year actually that he was just, like you said, he's a monster. He was killing everybody. He was just destroying everybody. Obviously, you mentioned that you were nervous, but when you're sitting in the stands watching him, is he kind of like the LeBron James of the NBA of track?
Oh, for sure. I mean, depending on who you think the GOAT is, he's the Michael Jordan. He could be LeBron if you think LeBron's the GOAT. He's the Tom Brady. He's the cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying? Like whoever's the top in whatever sport, Wayne Gretzky, whatever it is, that's Usain Bolt. And because he's 6'5" and just towers over people, like it's different when you're standing next to him. He's tall, like he's super tall. Any 6'5" person can be tall. But when you're running, they look like twice as tall because you can see their gait and just like they're running on their toes. So they get up. You know what I'm saying? You see their stride and you really see how tall and how much ground he's covering and how easy it is. Like I was in lane 9 and he was in like lane 5 or 6 or something or 4 in the middle of the track. And I remember he went by me and I just see this big, like God-like figure. It was crazy. It's like, if you think of like Greek gods and like, if those statues were coming to life, that's how I picture how it was. Cause I've never seen that in a race before, up at that point. So he just went by and you could see him just looking around easy, but like, he's pulling away. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's definitely the LeBron James, Michael Jordan, whatever you want to call it.
Shout out to Usain, man. And honestly, my someone that I know actually got a picture with him, and she's like maybe 5'9", 5'10", and he's like, as you say, he's 6'5". He looks like a giant compared to her. You know, this skinny guy, skinny D's guy, and I was like, what the hell? Who the hell is that? But obviously in the 2012 Olympics, you weren't necessarily part of this team, but Canada wins, or we think Canada wins a bronze medal that year to get disqualified. And obviously, hearts were broken. What was it like for you to be able to you were part of Team Canada, so what's it like for you to see that, get excited and amped with your teammates, only to be disappointed at the end?
It was tough because we went through a lot. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that went on behind the scenes. Like I was in the relay pool, but we had 9 people in the relay pool. So only 4 get to run. There's a lot of people that didn't get to run, and there was a lot of drama and politics behind the scenes about who was going to run. And when we finally sorted out who was going to run, we just want to support them because at the end of the day, we're all Canadians, we're all Team Canada, we all want the best. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy to see like how far we came to winning a medal at the Olympics. Like we did not think that was possible. We were not looking at ourselves as we're going to be medalists. We were just trying to make the final and see what happens. And when they went out there and did it, I was like, damn, they actually put it together. And so we were proud of them, happy for them, no matter who got to run, who didn't. But then like we were watching the results and then we look up again and we see Canada drop all the way to the bottom. And then we're like, what happened? What's going on? And then we found out later after reviews and replays, they showed Jared Connaughton on third leg stepping on the inside of the line. He just had like one step. That's all it takes. So all that hard work, this was the pinnacle for a lot of people's careers, and it's gone just like that. It was heartbreaking. So seeing how much it hurt them, that even though I was kind of upset that I didn't get to run, I still wanted the best for them because we're all boys, we're all friends. Mm-hmm. And to see them like out there, crying on TV and stuff, that was tough.
Was there a moment that you shed a tear with them too?
Nah. I mean, I felt it inside for them, but I had to hold strong for them, because if I'm crying and they're crying, it's just going to make it worse. So I gotta, I gotta be strong.
That definitely was a proud moment for Canada, though, until it was taken away. But for you in particular, though, in 2013, you get to win a bronze medal with the Canadian team in the 4x100 meter at the World Championships. You then repeat the bronze medal again in 2015. Obviously, you would have liked to win gold, but being a top team in back-to-back qualifiers, what do these bronze medals mean to you?
I mean, they're huge. Like back then, we weren't expecting much out of ourselves. I don't know. Like there are so many faster teams that we didn't think of ourselves as like gold medal favorites. We just wanted to be in the mix. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So for us to get bronze, that was like best case scenario. Like we actually put it together. This is a really proud achievement for us.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2013, we called ourselves the Redeem Team because we wanted to get back that bronze that was lost in 2012. And so we had a lot of the same guys in the pool. Some changed, some not. But we put it together. And again, there was a lot of drama behind the team. Like there's anytime you have a lot of guys that are close in speed and only 4 get to run, there's going to be people who are upset. And there's always drama and hard choices to be made. So a lot of stuff went behind the scenes, but we ended up coming together and, putting together a bronze medal performance and ran faster than the team did in 2012. So we were riding high. And then in 2015, Andre comes along, he starts showing out, becoming a superstar and all that. And, once we had him doing his thing, all of us wanted to raise up our game. And at that point we knew like, all right, we got to be on the podium now. We got one of the best athletes out here. So yeah, to have back-to-back bronze medals and then follow it up in Rio with another bronze, it was just like, all right, we got to aim higher now. Like we showed the world we can do bronze. Let's try and do better.
Mm-hmm. But in 2016 for you, and personally though, you run a 9.96 in the 100 meter, joining Andre DeGrasse, like you just mentioned. I want to know though, what did that mean for you? Obviously, being still young, still in your prime, still doing what you're doing, to now be at a high with someone that's just as good, if not quote unquote, I don't believe so, but quote unquote as better than you.
Yeah, he showed us what was possible, and we hadn't had a 9-second runner since Donovan Bailey and Bruni Cern back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So once he did that, I was like, all right, I got to get up there too. And I'd been so close for so long. I ran 10:05 back in 2013. I was close for a long time and I just never was able to break through. So I think maybe seeing him do it was just like the fire starter for me that pushed me over the hump to be able to do it. And I remember when I did it, it was here in a home local meet. I just come off getting disqualified overseas because I false started. So I was a little upset. This is the last race I was going to have before going to nationals and lining up with Andre. So I wanted to have a good race, but I wasn't thinking like this is going to be the day. I was just going out there to run. Mm-hmm. And I ran, and then I looked at the clock after. I'm like, damn, I just ran 9. And I didn't think it was legal at first because at first it said 2.1 wind. But later it showed that was not our wind. That was the race before us. So ours was actually 2.0. And if you know track, like 2.0 or less wind makes it legal, meaning it counts for records and all that stuff. If it's over 2.0, it doesn't count. It's called wind assisted.
Okay.
So I found out later on the results page that I was a 2.0 and it was legal. And everybody started hitting me up like, yo, you just broke the barrier. I'm like, nah, it's winded. And like, nah, look again. And I was like, oh shit, like I did it. I ran 9. And I did it against Tyson Gay in the same race. He ran 9.97. I ran 9.96. So I ended up beating one of the greatest sprinters of all time from our first sub 10, which is a pretty dope way to do it.
That definitely is a dope way to do it when you get to beat someone that is, at the top. But I want to ask you though, I do want to speak about Rio for one quick second. I got a couple more questions for you here before we end. But I do want to ask you though about Rio. You joined the Canadian Olympic team. For you ran the 100, 200, and the 4x1. You were 0.02 seconds off from winning the bronze medal until, ironically enough, the judges reviewed. And now you guys win based on another disqualification, being the complete opposite of what happened in 2012. When you guys get told that you guys are now 3rd place and you win that bronze medal, first off, how did that feel? And second of all, did it feel like you guys actually won the medal, or did it feel like you guys came in 4th place?
No. So it was a weird feeling because when we ran, it felt like everything we did went right. And we crossed the line. We see Andre closing, like, okay, we're good. And it just seemed like this is our moment. Like we went into the call room right before we go out to the track, and we're like, this is it. Like we feel the momentum, we feel good. We feel like this is our time. And we see the results come up, and we just missed it. But we had ran 37.64, which breaks the Canadian record. And when the last
shout out to you guys for that, by the way. Shout out to you guys for that. That's big, man. That's big. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. They the people we broke it from ran 37:69, which was the gold medal team from the Atlanta Olympics with Donovan Bailey and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, they won gold at that time, yet our time gets fourth. Like it doesn't make sense to us. Like we just ran like the best race ever that we could have ran, and we're fourth. So we didn't want to leave the track because we know we've been in this before. You know, in 2012, Canada got disqualified. 2013, 2015, Great Britain got disqualified, and then I think it was the US that got disqualified in 2015. So that's 3 disqualifications in a row. Mm-hmm. So we know, like, okay, let's not leave the track yet. Something could happen. And we're waiting. And we're like, yo, I don't think it's coming. Let's just get out of here. Let's go through the media gauntlet and get out of here, you know, do our interviews and get out of here. So like, damn, we've got fourth. And we're doing our interview with CBC. And we're talking and we're all like, kind of like, yo, like we ran good. We just didn't get it done. We didn't get the medal. We're happy with the record. And, you know, we're not feeling it. Like there's no energy. And then all of a sudden they stop us in the middle of an interview and say like, we have some good news for you. The US looks like is going to be disqualified. Immediately, all of us were hyped. We're like, oh, we run the interview right back. And we're like, yeah, we just did it. We broke the Canadian record. And like, we're all hyped, like energy's on 10. So even though we got our through disqualification, we felt like we deserved the medal for that performance because we broke the Canadian record. We ran faster than we ever could. We didn't really make many mistakes. And it just kind of felt like that should be a medal along with that performance. And so it felt fitting for me. It didn't feel like a fake medal. And this part of relay running is not just being the fastest. You also got to do it technically right. And that's why a lot of people make mistakes and drop the stick or get disqualified. It's because there's a lot that goes into passing the baton within the zones. When you're going that fast, it's not as easy as it looks.
Definitely does not look that easy. I mean, I remember one time just in gym class, we did it as you know, just to do it. I'm like, I ran outside the line and my teacher's like, disqualified. I'm like, for what? I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? All I did was stand in line. But no, that's crazy for what goes into the preparation, the mental, not just the physical aspect of being a runner as well. But I do got to ask you though, you know, on that team, were there any returners from the 2012 London Olympics? Like from that team that got disqualified, the third place team, were there any returners from those?
No, that brand new team.
That would have been good redemption for them. I'm sure at least one or two of them would have felt like.
I would say the only one that's still running from that team was Gavin, but he didn't make the team that year. That's like the one team he missed. Okay. And Justin Warner didn't make the team either. And I think that was his last year of running. But Gavin still runs to this day, and he's made teams since then. But yeah, back then that's the one team he missed. That's crazy. This is a brand new team from 2012.
Wow. He just want to take some time off, clearly. But 2017, you know, for you personally was a rough year. You know, talk to us about the struggles that you went through, not at just the Canadian championships, but also in London as well.
Yeah, man, that was tough because, you know, I've been dealing with injuries for the entire year. We actually started off the year well because we won gold in the 4x2 at the World Relays. So, you know, we're riding high. We won gold. That's our first like international gold medal. So we're happy with that. But I ran that race actually with a strained quad, and I didn't realize it. I just knew it hurt. But it was a grade 2 strain. I ended up getting an MRI on it, and I had to do some treatment on that. But what I said earlier about injuries and like taking your time to make sure that they heal and all that stuff, I didn't do that. So I just kept trying to run through it and, you know, not sitting myself out, making sure it fully heals before I get out there and stress it. So I never fully healed. I was just going through the season running slow because I couldn't train at full capacity because I was in pain. And, you know, I'm hindered. My leg's not functioning properly, but I'm still trying to go out there and run races overseas to make money, whatever, and not, you know, sitting down and making sure I get this full rehab in. And so I'm having a streak of slow races throughout the year, losing confidence, wondering what's going on. And then I go to the Canadian trials, false start in the 100, but I get third in the 2 and I have standard. So I have enough to qualify for Worlds. So, you know, it's been a rough season. I finally get healthy right before Worlds. I put in all this work. I'm grinding, I'm working hard, and I feel like I'm in great shape. So I go out first round in the 200, win the heat in the second fastest time I've ever ran up until that point. And, you know, I've been having demons at championships. in the individual events because I haven't been able to be my best. And now I go out here and I run the easy round. I'm shutting down, running easy through the line, running the second fastest time ever after everything I've been through that year. And I'm like, oh, this is it. Like I've been through all that hard stuff, all that hardship, just for me to shine in this moment, put it all together. And so I'm happy going through the interviews, doing all that stuff. And then when I finally get through and get to the call room to put my clothes back on, I see on the screen, just like in 2012 when I saw the relay team go from third to the bottom, I saw my name go from first to the bottom. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And they say I stepped on the line, just like in 2012. So I had one little step on the line in the 200, and all of a sudden it's gone. Everything that all the work I put in through all the, stuff that I went through to get healthy, all the bad races and, losing my confidence just to build myself back up, all gone, just like that, one step on the line. And then my championship's over. And I try to bounce back in the relay, trying to get myself up for it, but I'm already, defeated because, I checked out. And we ended up making the final and finishing sixth, which, considering we had a lot of injuries on the team, that wasn't bad. But yeah, 2017 was rough, man, because I just went through a lot. I had to do a lot of growing from that. But ultimately helped me for the next year in 2018, where I ran my first sub 20. Just because, I saw the potential of what I could be and I was so close. If I had my worst year just doing that and I was still able to look good at the championships, I felt like, okay, I can put it together next year.
Most definitely. And obviously, 2019, you got to compete at the Diamond League. You won back-to-back gold medals in the 200 meters at the Diamond League, Shanghai. And excuse my language or pronunciation of this one, but the Bajos Galen.
Bauhaus.
There you go.
Bauhaus. It's just Stockholm. Yeah.
There you go, in Stockholm.
Stockholm Diamond League.
You run a new personal best of 1995 in the 200 meter and in Switzerland. And then went on to win both the 100 and 200 meters events at the Canadian Championships. With all of that happening, preparing you for the 2020 Olympics, when COVID comes into play, what were your thoughts? Thinking, here we go again, another trial and tribulation year for everything that I just went through.
It's crazy because so many people had great momentum from 2019 going into 2020, and 2019 was my best year. I ran 996, I ran 1995, which are still my personal best. And, I was riding high. I made my first world championship final in the 100 and 200. I won the Canadian championships, in the 1 and 2, went back to back. So it was crazy. I had a really good year. I won my first 2 Diamond League meets and I was doing really well. And then I can't remember what month it was, but early in the year, maybe March or something like that, COVID really starts to pick up. It's not just a thing in China anymore. It's here. It's in America, which is where I was. And then I started seeing on the internet rumors about, is the Olympics still going to go on, whatever. But then the IOC was saying, yeah, it's going to happen. It's not going to be postponed. But then I remember it was like D-Day, one of the craziest days I've ever seen in sports, where it was the NBA got shut down. NFL was postponed, soccer was postponed, hockey, everything just one by one was taken out. And so I was like, damn, the Olympics are still saying they're going to go on. They're in July, but all these things are done right now. And we don't know when COVID's going to end, but
continuing, by the way. COVID's still around.
Exactly. It's still going on. Back then we're like, oh no, it's just going to pass. That's when people were saying it was just like the flu or whatever. No, but, yeah, so all those things, I started getting nervous because all those sports, they make a lot of money. And if those are shutting down, the Olympics is in jeopardy. And then I remember Canada pulled out first. They were the first team to announce that we're not going to go to the Olympics, even if they happen. And I remember, because I trained with all Americans. So I went to practice and they're like, yo, how you feel? Canada's not going to go. And I'm like, damn, this feels like this is terrible. If this really does pass over and Canada's still not going to go, and I have to watch from TV all the other countries go, this is going to be terrible. But that wasn't the case. A couple of days later, actually might have been the next day, other countries started pulling out and then the entire thing got postponed. So at least then I could know like, okay, I'm not going to miss out on anything. And it's probably better to be safe and not risk it
Mm-hmm.
because, the Olympics only come every 4 years. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are willing to like break rules. When parks were shut down, tracks were shut down, people are still going to find a way to go out and train because they don't want to give up on their dream. So for the safety of them and for everybody around them to like socially distance and do all that stuff and actually like take it seriously, you had to postpone the games because they're still going on. Best believe people are going to go out there and still train. It just is what it is. And so once they did that, I was like, all right, we can actually chill, like take this thing seriously and do what we need to do to be responsible. Because up until then, we're still like training by the skin of our teeth. Like our track, we lost our access to our track, we lost our weight room. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to soccer parks, we're going into like dirt paths, bike trails and all that stuff. Coach was like
Wow.
scrambling to find whatever it was to get the grind in to
Mm-hmm.
stay in shape. And so once the games got postponed, he was able to like chill a little bit.
Shout out, coach, making sure you guys can still get you running in and get your practice in regardless.
Yeah,
But as
yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned,
Grind don't stop.
exactly. Just do it as it says on your shirt. In 2021 though, you get a chance now to actually perform at 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Being in Tokyo during COVID, during a pandemic, what was that whole experience like? And was there any pressure to win what you won, throughout those Olympics?
Yeah. So after coming off 2020, all the momentum I had built up in 2019 was gone because it was such a weird year.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody had different circumstances depending on where you lived, but we all had some type of effect from COVID. So, just trying to get back into the swing of things, making sure that, we're still being safe, but at the same time training to the best of our ability. It was tough to manage at some points. Fortunately for me, being in Florida, this is one of the more rogue states, to put it mildly, where
Mm-hmm.
the rules weren't as strict as they were in other places, especially in Canada. So I was able to train somewhat, um, but at the same time, still not fully the same way as I would in a normal year. Um, but yeah, competitions were different. You had to wear your mask. You had to, do all kinds of stuff to, daily COVID tests, to make sure that you're good and not passing it along. There's a lot of different precautions put into place to make sure that, we're abiding by the government rules. And track and field is a global sport. So we're traveling to different countries for our competitions, and each country has different rules and how they deal with COVID. So we have to
Mm-hmm.
navigate that and, choose where we're going to go and where it was accepted for us to go. Um, but when I finally got to Tokyo, I was like, all right, this is the moment I've been waiting for. It's not going to be the same as my first two Olympics, but this is still the Olympics. There's no fans, so nobody in the stands, which is weird, but we got over it pretty quickly. And the results was solid. I'm not gonna like regret anything, but at the same time, you always want more as an athlete. You know what I'm saying? So like, I was sixth in the 200, which was my first Olympic final. So I'm proud of that. But at the same time, I wanted to do better in the final. And then the 4x1, we get bronze again, which, we went in thinking we had a chance for gold. And so, to get bronze is like, all right, at least we got something, but we still wanted more. So
Yeah.
this team is going to be together for a little bit, unless something, someone comes up from the young ranks. But I feel like we have more opportunities ahead of us. We have world championships in 22 and 23, and then another Olympics in 24. So as much as it was, tough to accept getting sixth and third when I wanted to be on the podium and win in the 4x1, there's still more opportunities. So I was proud of Tokyo, some ups and downs, and overcoming a lot of adversity. But overall, it was still a good experience.
Well, you definitely got a new fan in me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Definitely someone that I've known for a while. So I'm definitely happy to see that you're still getting those
Appreciate that.
accomplishments going and everything. And back to back bronze medals is not easy to do in the Olympics. So shout out to you for that one, man.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
quick hitters for you to conclude the show. First thing that comes to mind, anything that comes to your mind. If you could have a conversation with anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, dead or alive? Dang. Uh,
We got him at the 2-3 zone, trapping zone at the top.
Man, that's hard. Um, I feel like I would do like maybe Obama.
Ooh.
Just ask what his first like what it was like to be in the office, and be like, yo, level with me, bro. Like, do aliens exist? Like give me some good stuff. Like all the secrets you get as a president, like give me that dirt, like I feel like he knows a lot of stuff he's not allowed to say, but like off the record, and like, yo, like give me it to me. So yeah, I'll go with Obama.
Keep it a buck with me. Keep it a buck with me. You plus 4 other track stars get invited to play a 5-on-5 pickup game against 5 NBA players. Who are you picking to rock with?
Ooh. I'll take Andre because I saw him play in the Celebrity All-Star game and he did pretty good. So I know he can hoop. I'll take Bolt. He's 6'5". I know he can hold down the post. I'm gonna take Brendan Rodney because he used to play OBA too. He played for the Brampton Blue Devils, so I know he's got a ball background. How many is that? That's 3.
That's 4. That's 4 because including yourself.
So one more.
One more.
Let's see. I'm gonna take Mutaz Barshim, the Olympic champion in the high jump. Just because I know he can jump high as hell. He could probably dunk and he could probably block people. So that's my 5.
You're thinking today. In your last YouTube video, you posted what Nike gives you and how you get an early Christmas in May. But I want to ask you though, what is one shoe that Nike has created that you'd want to bring back and wear if you could?
Ooh. Okay. You know what? I always, they're out there still, but I've always wanted the Shadow ones. I don't have those. I have the, I don't know if you can see it right there, but the Flyknit versions of the ones. It's not the same. I want the actual OG Shadow one, black and gray. I have the Royals. I have the Breads. I have the Chicagos. I have Shatterback. I have a lot of ones. That's my favorite shoe of all time.
I see that. So I see your shoes back there. You got probably not even half of it, is it?
Yeah. I got a lot of shoes. But the Shadow ones for sure. I also like them South Beach LeBron 8s. Those have always been one of my favorites. And those are super expensive.
I'm not really a LeBron fan, nor am I really a LeBron guy when it comes to shoes or whatnot, but those shoes, tough.
Yeah. Tough. Yeah, those are hot. Yeah.
If you had a documentary about your life but couldn't play yourself, who would you want to act as you? We gotta be thinking today.
I know, these are good questions. Shout out to you. Michael B. Jordan.
I can see that. Last question I gotta ask you before our outro. Who should we try to get on Talk Your Exposure? But if we can't get them on, you got to help us with your answer.
Well, do you want more track people or do you want basketball? That's the thing.
Doesn't matter to me, man.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. If I gotta be more creative, I'll be more creative. That's what I like to do, man. Gotta think outside the box sometimes.
Yeah. The easy answer would be Andre because I know he hooped too, but I'm trying to think of something better than just the obvious. Maybe Penny Alexiak, the swimmer.
Okay.
Just because she's the most decorated Canadian Olympian of all time. Probably has a really dope story from her perspective, being an Olympian. I think she was an Olympian at 16 or something like that. Being so young, and she's a cool person. So yeah. Fair
enough. I won't keep you for long. I know your son just woke up, but but I got. But I just want to say, life. Dad life for real. You should get a shirt that says Dad life. Get Nike to make it for you. Nike, if you're listening to this one, you got to get my guy a Dad life T-shirt, man. But Aaron, we want to thank you for your time, man. Obviously, you and I go way back from way long time ago. We know a lot of mutual friends. To see your success now, where you're at right now in your life, in your career, as a father, as a runner, as an Olympian, man, you've done a lot of good things, and you've been able to give back to, share some insight with our viewers for today. So we thank you for your time. We thank you for being able to give us this opportunity to be able to talk with you, and for you and I to even kind of talk a little bit beforehand and just run back down to the memory lane. So I want to thank you for that. But before we get going, though, do you have any shout outs that you want to give, or can we also find you on social media? What are your social media handles?
Yeah. So first of all, I'll say appreciate you for having me on. Like you said, we go way back. So it's dope to, reminisce with you and go down that memory lane. We always had friendly trash talk back and forth with OBA basketball. So that's always fun to revisit. Good times back then. But you can follow me on Instagram, Kingsley SC, KINGSLEY SC. That's my Instagram handle, Twitter handle. Just made a TikTok, so follow me there. I have a YouTube channel, Aaron Kingsley Brown, Kingsley TV, so you can watch my stuff there. But yeah, man, what's next is just training for 2024. I got some world championships coming up before that, like I said, 2022 and 2023. So some big years in the following years, trying to go bigger than what I did up until this point, and just represent for Toronto, man, put on for the boys back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You doing some great stuff with this podcast. I appreciate you having me on. Check out some other episodes that you had. I know some good stuff. You asked great questions. So shout out to this podcast, and thanks for having me on again.
Hey, shout out for that, man. We definitely appreciate that. And one last time, this is definitely a wrap, and we're excited to drop this, everybody. So thank you guys for listening in and tuning in. And Aaron, thank you again for your time.
Appreciate you.